to another episode of the Victim No More podcast. It's your boy Bobby Patterson, aka Bobby P. And I hope you all have had an amazing day. Hey Brandy, thanks for joining. I see our guests already in the house. Absolutely, positively. This is good. This is good. I hope that you all feel good. As a matter of fact, share this live right now. Go ahead and take a few moments. Get some people, tuned in, get them plugged in, because this is going to be an incredible interview this evening. Very, very important as well. Very, very important, as all of them. But everybody has their own story, and this one right here is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Trust and believe. This will be one for the books, for sure. Let me go ahead and get a few invites out here as well. All right. All right. So I hope everyone is feeling good. They've had an amazing day so far. Because what we about to do now is continue it. For sure. And I hope everyone walks away encouraged and empowered. All right. All right. Once again, welcome to another episode of the Victim No More podcast. This is your boy Bobby Patterson, aka Bobby P. This is episode 28 of the Victim No More podcast. So I appreciate everyone who has supported, especially after I have transitioned as far as platforms are concerned. I started out on Facebook for 22 episodes. So this is the 6th episode, since the beginning of the year here on Instagram Live. So I appreciate your support. Please share. And even for those of you who actually catch this on replay, please share the replay as well. What I'm going to do is going to go ahead and get our guest on right now. All right, I've sent the invite. So they should be coming through here in a moment. And while I'm there, we are.
Hello.
Great
Everyone.
evening, great evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to some and present to others none other than this incredible, amazing woman whose story I'm pretty sure is going to be captivating this evening, and there's going to be some healing. There's going to be just encouragement to let you know that, yes, it is possible to get on the other side of through and win for sure. Miss Tahira Olgetree.
Thank
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor to be on this platform. And I have to thank you for, creating this, being the founder of this platform, to be able to let others know how to get through the other side of through. Because with God, you can, and your determination and your willpower, your goals, you can. And there's so much incredibleness. And I know that's not a word, but it is so.
Oh, it's one now.
It's one now, right? It's so much incredibleness on the other side. So I thank you so much for this platform, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. As we always start here. Now, I would like to say, whenever I have a guest on that I've personally met and I've got into their presence, I always like to mention that, and I had the honor of doing as such in Dallas, at the last leg of the Mind, Body, and Spirit tour, which was an incredible event. And so I'm looking forward, to meeting more spectacular people. Hopefully, we'll see you in Las Vegas in July.
My ticket is already purchased.
Oh, okay. So I will see you there, and see, I got to be there.
Yes.
I'm TLC. I'm a transformation contest winner, so I got to be there for that. I'll be doing a round table,
Awesome.
with individuals that have been on the podcast, maybe even not have been on the podcast. Hint, hint, clue, clue.
Okay, I'll be
And
there.
so, and also too, it's gonna be your boy's birthday, so I have got to be in Las Vegas in July.
Yes, yes, that is definitely the place to celebrate.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So where I would like to start at is, of course, we are both part of this incredible energy, this company called Total Life Changes. But of course, life existed before Total Life Changes. Kind of give us a walkthrough of who Tahira was, as a young woman, and then into adulthood, and then how did we get to Total Life Changes?
Well, we got the Total Life Changes. I was spirit led. I was actually praying for something because I struggled with IBS,
Oh,
and I struggled with sciatica pain, and I struggled with inflammation, and I was starting to swell really bad. It just started getting really, really bad. So I was like, I've got to be able to find something, and praying for something. And it was a high school kid, a high school friend of mine, who referred me to Total Life Changes through our samples. And I tried them, and I'm like, okay, this works. I am going to invest in this, and I'm going to take it. And it truly, I don't like saying this because I feel this is cliche, but I'm serious. It has truly changed my life. And going on to not only change my health, going
hmm.
on to increase the knowledge and my mindset, and, just being surrounded by a beautiful community of people, starting with our John CEO, Jack Fallon and John
Hmm.
Licari. So just being able to be in that environment, it has truly added to what God has already, given to me in my life.
Hmm.
So going back to childhood, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I
All
grew up
right.
in a single family home. Mother and father, my mother and father didn't reside in the same home, but my dad would come, back and forth to see me or whatever. But,
Right.
they would always argue. And
Okay.
I remember growing up as a kid, just standing beside, in between them, like, can you guys stop, please? So what
Mm.
that led me to, as a child growing up, I would always watch, the Cosby Show, and wanting to have that family oriented feel. And, I didn't have it. So that left me thirsting to be married. And I got married at a young age, which was 19. And, that's what my focus was. I got married at that age. I went to school, and then marriage life, took me away from school. I later went back. But, that whole setting as a child kind of set my trajectory as I was, growing up, because I still had that mindset of I wanted to be married. And I subsequently walked right into an abusive marriage. And, from that, I saw the warning signs, but I ignored them because of what I chose. And I chose to be married because it goes all the way back to my childhood. And that's where, if you are abusive or you are abused, it stems
Hmm.
from your childhood. There's some type of disconnect
There's
back
a
there,
tie there.
that there's a tie that is not healed, that is not, that is not known at that particular time, that leads you in this path of going into abuse, or either becoming going inside of abusive relationships. So, I worked at a Fortune 500 company called MBNA. They later were bought out by Bank of America. But
Okay.
during that time there, I was in an abusive relationship there. But the blessing that I got from that company was that it showed me who and my gifts and talents really was. I collected for that company millions and millions of dollars. In my first
Okay.
year, I was one. I received one of the company's biggest award, you know, and that was an all-star. But you know, all
Wow.
during that time, I was still in that abusive relationship. But God gave me that platform, that career path to be able to start tapping into myself. So that is where my healing first
Hmm.
began. Just to getting a chance to know, you know, my capabilities and not having those you know, that negative verbal abuse in my head, and I didn't have to wake up with that each and every single day. But that was my first step to getting my life back on to track and starting to heal.
So if I understand you correctly, even though you was in that relationship and the abuse that was taking place,
Mm-hmm.
your job at that particular time actually gave you sort of like the affirmation that you wasn't getting that what you were supposed to get inside that relationship.
It wasn't giving me that, but it also gave me so much more because I got a chance to start tapping into who I really was
Who
and what
you are.
abilities were. So that offset those negative things that were going on in my life. And it really helped, you know, create a path out to where
Hmm.
I'm currently at now. So it, you know, and we know all things work together for the
Work
good
together.
of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. You know, I received that job. I got that job, and you know, I was retired from it after 13 years. So really being able to be there and identify my strengths, my growth, and then really looking back as I was there at that company, I said, you know what? There's more to life than this, and I've got to get out of here.
Right.
So when the opportunity, when the merger came in between, the opportunity opened up for a lot of people who wanted to relocate, and I was one of them. I said, you know what? I want to tap in. I want to tap into who God really created in me, and I want to grow. I want to learn. You know,
Okay.
I wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be, you know, in acting, and so I transitioned, relocated from Bank of America or MBNA, but they transitioned to Bank of America in
Hmm.
2007 and came out here to Arizona and started my career. So,
Okay, because that was going to be my question. How
yes,
did we get from Cleveland to
yes.
Arizona?
Yes, it was a door open within the company within that merger, and you know I was one of the people that would sit at my desk every day, even though that had helped me strengthen me, you know, grow. I says, wait a minute, I cannot sit here and do this every day because I know there's something much more inside of me, a desire that I
Hmm.
want to tap into. I
And
want
that
to
wasn't
go,
you.
and that wasn't me, and I cannot pull up to anything and stay with anything that is not authentically me. So I transitioned to Arizona and started my career in acting here. I started just my whole entire career in 2014. I started writing the book Survivors Celebrating Life Beyond Domestic Violence. I self-published that book. And then in 2016, it was published. 6 months after that, it won first place award for mind, body, and spirit.
Wow.
Yes. So it's a
That's
tie-in.
a prophetic preview
Yes.
of where
Yes.
you were going.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was like,
Got
you
you.
know, the spirit, at the time I was writing, I was like, because I had pre-orders out, right? And I was like, I got to get this book done. I got to get this book done. The spirit was like, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. I was like, but I am. You know, I don't have anything else to write. You're not done. And the part that I was not done with was abuse for children that happened, the
Mm.
domestic violence that happens for children with children, and then the detox, the health aspect of domestic violence. That piece was
Oh,
not written in
wow.
the book, right? So once all of that was put in, then I went to the printer and printed. And like I said, it won first place award for mind, body, and spirit. And in 2016, I wanted to do more. And the whole, let me back up just a little bit because how I got into the writing the book and telling my story was simply because I was doing a demo reel for acting. For those who don't know what
Okay.
a demo reel is, it is simply an actor's resume, what you can do. And I didn't have one at the time. And my director said, well, do you want me to write something or do you want to write something? I said, well, let me write it. It'll be more authentic. It'll be, I can remember, and I can just come across really strong to the directors and those that may be who I was going to audition with. So I wrote something, and I wrote my life story. And we talked about domestic violence. That was the first short film. It's called Battered But Not Broken. I wrote that, and it got so many reviews. And I was like, you know what? I want to do more. I want to do more. So therefore, I wrote the book. And then after that, I started the nonprofit organization in 2016.
Okay.
And, you know, it just progressed and progressed. Now, transitioning all the way up to Total Life Changes. When I joined Total Life Changes, I was aware that it was a beautiful company and the products really worked. And I said, I love this. And it was an opportunity for me to join to be a life changer. And I said, okay, this is great. I want to do this. But you know what? My platform, I can't leave my platform. I can't leave who I am. I've got to be able to incorporate who I am within this. And that is the birth of Detox Us Now.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Kind of before we transition into the part of TLC, you know, as you're describing your process as you were going through the audition, and even as you were writing that book, what was some of the healing processes that you had went through in order for you to go through those memories and put it on paper, to put it in a book, and not allowing the memory of them to hinder you? What was some of that healing process that took place before all of that?
Well, my first healing was God.
Okay.
My prayer. I come from a Christian background. My mother, she taught me how to pray. I'm blessed to have my mother here, and all through that process, and my family. And, you know, that was my healing process. And like I said, the job that I worked at the time, that started to show and started to add to my life. And granted, this is 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So at the time, for me to be able to put pen to paper, I was healed. However, there was a section in the book, and that's the red flags that I broke down. Because the red flags really showed me how engulfed I was and did not know that I was that much engulfed in an abusive relationship, just to identify. So that's the time that I really broke down. But as I had throughout those years, I was able to see and tap into God, who God created me to be. And I was able to have the strength that I needed. I was blessed to get out of that marriage. It was 5 years, but it did a lot of damage. But I was blessed to get out of that marriage and not have my partner, my ex-husband, come after me and be able to tell my story. Because, you know, as I had confronted him, I says, hey, this is my story. I'm sharing it, okay? And it will be public. And at that time, he was in the military, so I guess he was like, oh, I don't want any backlash, or you go ahead and do your thing, and I do mine. But see, you know, a lot of women don't get out of that. So, you know,
Because
a
I
lot of
can
women don't
imagine
have that. And a lot of women
I can imagine with a lot of women who are in similar situations or have been in those similar situations. You know, there's a process that I can imagine that you go through to heal from that. But there's layers to healing.
It is.
And then it get to a point where you realize that what you've been through, it can't be in vain, and so you must tell your story in some shape, form, or fashion. And then it takes another level of boldness, a level of just being courageous to be able to do that. What at what point did you say, you know what, I need to tell this story? What was there a particular event that took place, or a series of events that said, you know what, I gotta talk about this. I gotta help free someone.
Yeah. It was at the time when I decided, I says, I want to act. And at that pivotal moment, I want to become an actress. At that pivotal moment, I was asked to do that demo reel, and getting the reviews and going back and living my story. And I actually, I will show it to you as well, but the short film, but going back to living that, I said, somebody's got to be free. Somebody's got to get some help from this, because God has helped me be able to survive, but not
Hmm.
only survive, be able to encapsulate what I went through myself and put it on film. That's strength and that's power, to be able to go through that, relive it, but that comes from knowing who God is and have a relationship and allow him to heal you, and reading the word and getting the therapy that you need to get and talking it out, not keeping it in. I had a lot of support around me. Now, I did not go to a shelter or anything. I had my
Right.
family, but I was able to speak it out and talk about it. And and then years fast forward later, it was at that pivotal moment when I got so many reviews back from, wow, we want to see more of this. Because mind you, it was only supposed to be a short film. That's
Okay.
it. It was a demo reel. It was supposed to be 30 seconds or so. And it wound up being a short film, but it was very impactful because I was able to reenact what I lived through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That that takes an entire different level of strength. And it has to come from the Most High. It has to come from God.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I've had my own personal trauma, as a child. And the idea of walking through that, I've only shared only a piece of that, but to imagine to kind of put that on film,
Yeah.
to put that takes an entire different level of strength. So I really want to commend you, because
Thank you.
you having the courage to do that. What whatever greatness that have taken place up until this point, I just believe is only going to increase because of the people that you're going to help set free
Yeah.
by that act of boldness.
Right.
I think we just now beginning. Um, as far as you had mentioned a word that for a long time, and even to some degree even now, has been somewhat of a taboo in our community, and it's called therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Speak on that, as it being part of your process, and how it's not a dirty word, and therapy is for everyone, and especially those of us who have been through any type of trauma.
Therapy is very, very good for anyone to go through. I look at it as for some. Okay. I don't speak because every therapist is different. They have different
Right.
beliefs. They administer different things. So for
Right.
some, um, therapy is very good because it actually is a quality that person, a gift, I should say, that they have, that they're able to break down and see a bird's eye view of a person, and be able to put book sense
Mm.
into what that person is going to be able to heal that person. It's the other person that's looking on the outside. See, we only see here.
Mm.
But if someone who is skilled and someone who has the knowledge and the intuition and the divine intellect from God to be
Right.
able to tap into an individual and help them heal, that is something that is very much needed in all of our communities. And you're right, there is a taboo about it because a lot of times it's associated with medicine, and sometimes those things are needed. But it at the end of the day, therapy is being able to
Right.
speak your heart to somebody who is listening and can articulate and break that thing down to be able to help you heal in bite-sized pieces.
That is an incredible and very simple way of literally breaking down the purpose of therapy. Because
Yes.
I go back and I think about, me being in therapy, and that's exactly what I was able to do.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you. I want to transition a little bit.
Sure.
Talk about otahira.org, as far as that website is concerned, and what would people find as they go to that website?
Well, the Tahira Foundation is my organization, and it is a awareness organization, and it is we have services for families that are impacted by domestic violence. We have our emergency survivors rescue program where we provide emergency food, we provide emergency shelter and clothing, and we also have our annual survivors Christmas toy drive. So, and also on that website, you will
Hmm.
be able to find resources for in not in all 50 states, but you'll be able to find resources outside of Arizona, and you'll be able to get knowledge on what to do if you are in an abusive relationship. We have the red flags on there. We have if someone is experiencing domestic violence and you have a friend or a family that's going through it, what you should ask them, what you could, be able to, how to communicate to that person without offending them and without pushing them. Because as a survivor, a person who has gone through domestic violence, you really don't want to push a person to do something.
Okay.
And you don't want to do that with anybody because
Exactly.
the person has to do it from their own. We always hear, oh, they're going to go back anyway. That's not necessarily true if it comes from within. Mine came from within. I was tired, and I knew that I had more to life than being somebody's punching bag, being drugged down a concrete flight of stairs, being choked. I was more. So I made a decision, but it came from within. So we have the resources on the organization's site to be able to tap into anyone that is dealing with domestic violence, recognizing the red flags. And we have also our other programs and services on there as well.
Okay. Now, how can someone get a hold of your book?
They can go directly to Amazon.com, or either they can go on the organization's website. And I have it here. It's Survivors Celebration of Life Beyond Domestic Violence. Now, this is a coffee table book. Once again, therapy, being able to talk about it. A little bit of insight on when I wrote this book. I had a couple of people to say, well, you know what, we ain't never heard of anything like that. That's not gonna sell. That's not gonna do well. I was like, okay, you can keep your thoughts to yourself because this is my vision, this is my passion, and it's coming to light. Right? So this is a coffee table book. And a coffee table book promotes conversation.
Right.
So my vision was to promote conversation on domestic violence. Having our stories, now my story is not the only one in there. I have 13 other survivors who share their stories transparently,
Okay.
moment by moment, very detailed, very vivid on what they went through, how they got through it, and what they're doing today to thrive. My sister was also a survivor. I mean, not a survivor. She was a victim of domestic violence, and she lost her life. Her story is in here as well. After 30 something years, her mother opened up and told her story for the very first time, and 30 something years of her death. And that was because I literally called her. I was writing in the midst of writing the book, and I called her up and I says, hey, I'd like to get Simone's story. She says yes. So my sister's story is in here. And we also, with the organization, we have her memorial fund. So if anyone loses their life to domestic violence, to keep her memory alive, we give a portion, we pay a portion of the person's burial expenses or cremation or flowers, whatever they choose. We pay a portion of that.
Well, condolences.
Thank you.
And here's the miracle in that.
Yes.
Her struggle is not in vain.
No, it's
She
not.
still lives today.
Yes, she does.
Her
Yep.
story is helping save lives by
Yes.
virtue of you and that book. This is incredible. And you know, a lot of times when I do these interviews, I kind of do a deep dive
Mm-hmm.
with who I interview. And I'm always spirit led
Yeah,
by those who actually get on this platform, because this platform don't belong to me.
that's right.
And but this was a little bit different. Uh, it was like the Holy Spirit said, you don't have to do that. I got something special for today. And
Wow.
so I know that even during a replay, there's going to be many people that's going to be blessed by this as it gets to YouTube, as it gets to Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it, Apple Podcasts. This right here
Awesome.
is going to be amazing,
Awesome.
absolutely
Awesome.
amazing. What I want to do now is kind of shift gears.
Okay.
TLC,
TLC.
how did that happen?
Well, like I with the illnesses, the chronic illnesses, and I didn't speak on this before, but survivors of domestic violence, they 3 to 4 million women a year report chronic illnesses related to domestic violence 5, 10, and 20 years later. Now, you see how God is working this thing out. This book here was done way before I went to TLC. In the back of this book here is a section for detox. Wait a minute, 1 second. Hold on 1 second. It is a section for detox. I just have my finger in it. Okay, it's a detox section.
Right.
Okay. Now, fast forward to TLC in 2020. That was about 20 something years later after my abuse.
Mm.
I started, and it has slowly progressed, but I didn't know what it was. I was just like, okay, maybe I just need to take more laxatives or more of this. And I didn't know what it was. I went to the doctor, had all kind of prescription medication. I was taking 5 to 6 medications a day to go to the restroom.
Wow.
And I just got bloated and bloated and bloated. 2020, like I said, I prayed. I said, God, this is something. I need help. I need help. Surgery is not it. I don't want to do that, but I need some help. And a friend of mine, a high school friend of mine, she was partnered with TLC, and she told me, she said, these products, they really work. And I saw her before and after. I was like, okay, is that true? So I tried the samples. Yes, it is. It's very true, right? I tried those samples, and let me tell you, it was night and day for me. I have not picked up a laxative or nothing since then.
That's incredible.
I have been able to be healthy in my digestional tract, and I suffered from IBS. I suffered from sciatica pain, which is lower back, and inflammation. Now, all of those that I just named, just those 3, there's about 15 or 20 others, chronic illnesses that 3 to 4 million women report every single year. There's arthritis, there's pain, there's diabetes. They report these illnesses, like I said, 5, 10, and 20 years later after being in an abusive relationship.
My Lord.
So it was on my 20th something year, and that's when it just started to hit me. And when I joined, like I said, I loved the company. I loved Jack Fallon's vision. I loved John le Carre. I just loved the whole community and what it stood for, and the lineage that I'm connected to. I was like, I love these people over here. This is awesome. This is so great. And I said, but to myself, I said, I got a dream. I got a vision of my own. How can I incorporate this to reach a larger amount of women? So that's when I came up with Detox Us Now. Detox Us Now is to help survivors live healthier lives and become financially independent through total life changes.
And just imagine, it all started
with
with this tea.
yes, that's it. And I always hear Jack Fallon's voice in my head. He says, allow TLC to be the vehicle for what you want to do.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So as now you're going into I would say the next level as it pertains to not only your TLC career, but also as well your advocacy for those who have dealt with and have survived or actually going through domestic violence right now. Where do you see yourself in about 5 years?
My vision for my organization is we're working on the framework now of the Tahira Foundation's House of Hope. And basically what that is, if you can envision a 5-star hotel, luxury, this is what I want for survivors in multiple cities. And
Okay.
for them as they transition and as they leave abusive relationships, they have nowhere to go. It would be a shelter, but it will be a 5-star. And because my vision is for, if you can imagine being broken, having no hope, having, your kids, your family, no place to go. And you are absolutely at your lowest. But you walk into this beautiful home that is surrounded by the spirit, that is surrounded by goodness, and that we can infuse life into you again and allow you to transition to be who God created you to be. That is where I see myself in 5 years. And like I said, we're already working on the framework of it.
I already it's already done.
Yeah, and
We just
another
got
thing,
to catch up to it. It's already
exactly.
done.
And another thing, as Jack Fallon would always say, allow this to be your vehicle. A portion of my sales, they go back into my organization. Because as in the nonprofit world, where there's grants and there's different funding, but it's not always easy. And there are so many people, and I don't like to wait on anybody. My impatientness comes handy sometimes.
Let's do it now,
Because
like
I want to go
yesterday.
ahead and do it now and get this done and allow my TLC career to be able to, fund that.
Right.
And like I said, I want it starting here in Arizona first, but in multiple cities where, survivors can come in and they will be able to, start living and start being able to have a vision. Like, it's not a shelter. So many, you go from being in an abusive relationship, and nothing against shelters. I love them. I love the people who are putting them together. But my vision comes from me,
Okay.
and what helped me is what I want to allow, be able to have somebody else to be helped by.
And actually on a broader scale to help more people. That is absolutely amazing. That's incredible. Now, let's not bypass this transformation that you went through. Okay, can't nobody look at your pictures and walk away the same. They looking at your pictures like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of walk us through, I know we have the original tea, the detox tea that you use. What were some of the other products that you use or still use in going through this process?
I got the Freedom Kit, and that's what I always promote because that's what helped me. I got the NRG. I got the ISOT. And at that time, I didn't know about the Brew. And I got the NutriBurst. That's what helped me transition. And I also got what do you call it? The resolution drops. I also use the resolution drops. Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty familiar with the drops.
Yes. And I'm telling you, these products. I forgot the help. I forgot the gentleman who came forth on our 15-day challenge. But I forgot his name, but he says they work together synergistically, and they do. It's like you can't have one without the other. You can, but they really work
I
good
think
together.
it's Dr. Brecker.
Yes, that's who it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Dr.
because
Brecken,
actually
yes.
I saw him in Orlando for that event. That yeah, yeah. As soon as you said that, I said I know who that is.
Yeah, Dr. Brecker. So he really went in detail about the product. I just knew that they worked really well together, but he broke it down. And I was like, there's a science behind this.
Yes.
So, what the products I started with was the ISOT, and I still use that today. However, I have migrated over to that Brew Tea, because that Brew Tea, I'll always tell everybody, man, that cleanses out your ancestors. Okay, it go way back. It go way back.
That girl said
It go
they clean
way
out
back.
your ancestors. I've never heard that until now.
Yes. And I said, don't be alarmed. It's not going to keep you in a certain place for a long period of time, but it does a real good, deep cleanse, because it has 9 herbs in it versus
Nine
the
herbs.
7 herbs. So it's
Right.
really getting in there and doing the good that it needs to do, cleansing out the blood and the arteries and the intestinal sludge, the upper and lower digestive.
Hmm.
It's cleansing out everything. So that's what I use now. I still use, and I use the fruit punch. I love the fruit punch.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
I
Yeah.
love
The
fruit
fruit
punch.
punch is yeah, because I use it,
Yes,
but whenever I still keep that brew tea as my foundation. I'm
yes,
gonna
sir.
have that at least once a day.
Yes.
Because you know part of my experience when I first came to TLC, uh, originally the first time back in 2014, there were none of the instant teas. There were
Mm-hmm.
none. All we had was the brew.
Right.
And when the brew hit the market and people began to see the results, because it's not a weight loss tea,
Mm.
it's a waste loss tea.
Yes,
So
sir.
many of us throughout the years have accumulated all this waste and toxins
Mm-hmm.
within our bodies. And
Yes.
so here come a natural, gentle herbal tea that
Mm-hmm.
comes along and really help cleanse out the intestinal sludge, as you say, and
Yes.
just get down to the root of the matters. And because of the different herbs, the 9 herbs that's in it, they all have a different function. And so,
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine staying consistent on that tea over a long period of time? Because, see, it's not about weight loss at that particular time.
Mm-mm.
This is now about staying in optimum
Yes.
health, and
Yes.
just being in the best shape possible. So, yes, I'm a huge advocate I like all the teas, but that brew tea, this
Yes.
right here,
Yes.
because I even have the original green and black pack from back in the
Okay.
day. So
Back in the
I
day. Okay.
trust and believe this, you can't go wrong with this tea.
You cannot.
Um, as we're getting to a close, this has been absolutely incredible. This is not the last time that you're going to be on this platform. I would pray that you would come back.
Oh, I will. I will
And for
definitely.
those of you who are just now jumping on, if you're not following this powerhouse, please hit that drop down box at the top left hand corner of your screen, and please follow Tahira. Trust and believe, because we're just now getting the glimpse of the greatness that is coming. And I just want to say, hey, look, I remember when, right before the greatness exploded, we talked about this
Yes.
on this podcast.
Absolutely.
I love, transitioning and ending our podcast on a very positive and high note.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get, if possible, 3 tips from you
Okay.
for, someone that is not only looking at TLC as far as the products are concerned, but maybe perhaps even as what you're referring to, a vehicle to an even bigger means of the vision that you have for yourself. And also, too, for those who have experienced domestic violence, or maybe even perhaps going through it right now. I know
Yeah.
you can speak specifically to that hope. So you could take either one of those and, speak on them first. But, and that last one, just a word of encouragement for someone who is in the middle and they're trying to get to the other side of through.
Mm-hmm.
That a word of hope, addressing that as well.
Okay, well, I'll do the Total Life Changes and I'll migrate to the rest of them. Total Life Changes is a beautiful company to be a part of. I personally love Total Life Changes because they recognize and identify that it is God that, you know, allows us to be able to help one another. They acknowledge, you know, the principles, love, you know, love each other, period. You know, doing what's more, doing your best for others, helping others. That is something that I believe everyone should be a part of because this world is so selfish. And Total Life Changes, if they don't do anything else, they give. They give. They give and they give and they give and they give.
Right.
And I love the fact that Jack Fallon had a dream. And his dream, God has blessed him to be able to see his dream and be able to experience it in so many people's lives all over the world.
Yes.
So it is truly a great company to be a part of. Not only that, the lineage that you get in that you are partnered with. Make sure your lineage is how you have a good lineage, because within all companies there are some things that tend to make people go south. But I'm telling you, you know what? TLC as a whole, it is a beautiful place, and I love it. And their products are superb. They work. And while we know everybody's body is different, they have a money back guarantee. So if it's not working for you, that is fine. You can get your money back. So, I mean, once again, it all goes back to their principle of love and giving more and doing more. Secondly, yes, 3 principles that I live by is authenticity, passion, and purpose. Authenticity, be who God created you to be. There are so many people in this world that you desire to be. No, you enough. You are enough.
Right.
There's no need to look to the left, to the right. You are enough. Tap in within yourself and be who God created you to be, because that is such a beautiful place to be. Secondly, passion, operating your life from the uncontrollable emotion that's inside of you. What drives you? What you cannot go to sleep without. Mine is creativity. Mine, is writing. That is what I love to do. So purpose, find your purpose, find your life's purpose by your alignment with God. Align with him first. Get in tune with him. Have that relationship. And if you're not a believer, that's fine. You know, tap into your higher power, but get aligned, and then find your purpose on this earth, what God has placed you to do. Those are my 3 principles. And for someone that is dealing with domestic violence or is in the relationship, I just want to let you know that it will take, actually, let me just go back a little bit. I like to refer to domestic violence, and if you can follow me on here, is the enemy. That is not from a good being. Domestic violence is not of good in any period. So the enemy came to steal, kill, and destroy. You have to identify who that person is first. Do not ignore the warning signs. And for myself, this is one thing that I practice. I always tap in. I always tap into him and I say, God, who is this person? Why is this person in my life? Who is this? Is this okay? Can I date this person? And he'll give you an answer. You just have to be still and listen and be ready to be open to receive that answer. And I want to leave you with a scripture, and that is 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or his height of his stature, because I have rejected him. Can you imagine you getting into a relationship and you all nuzzled in, and because you desire to be with this person for whatever reason, and God has rejected him? Can you imagine that God says no, but because you did not check in with the source, you didn't get the reveal. I have rejected him, for the Lord sees not as man see. We see on the outside. Going back to what I was, a little kid, what I saw was on the outside. I didn't have a mom and dad that was married. I didn't have that family. That was on the outside. Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart.
Heart.
So if we tap in with him, we may be looking at the outside, but God is like, you know what? I rejected him. That was not for you. I see the heart of that person, and it's not good. And it's not good for your children, my children. But, you know, that is what I want to leave, and to let someone know that through God, through the power of God, and knowing your self-worth, you can get through the other side of through. You can get there. I am a living witness. The women and men that are in this book are a living witness. And there's hundreds and thousands of millions of people, survivors all over this world, who have been able to get through the other side of through. But it does take the act of God, because the enemy came to steal, kill, and destroy. And whenever you're going through an abusive relationship, that is straight from the enemy.
Yes.
Because that person is destroying you. They're belittling you. They're making you think and feel that you are less than your worth.
Not enough. Yeah.
That you are not enough. But I'm here to tell you that God created you a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece, and you can and will soar once you seek him and tap in with yourself.
Mic drop. Look, I am so honored and privileged to be able to have had this opportunity to interview. Well, actually, this wasn't really an interview. I think we had a conversation.
Yes.
And in the process of that, I've learned some things as far as your foundation, the purpose of your book, the whole vision of it being a tabletop book, that it sheds a different light as far as the purpose in which you're operating in. And I really thank God that you're able to speak from the other side of through, that you've made that transition to be a victim to victorious. And you made a decision a long time ago to be the victim no more.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed it and you really have drawn some value from this gift that we've had on this platform this evening, please put some fire in the chat. She's definitely going to be back. You can guarantee when we get to Vegas, and plans are I will be doing that round table, because that's become somewhat of a tradition now.
Okay.
So we're kind of looking for it. And I would love for you to be part of that round table. Individual, when we get to Vegas.
I'm already there.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for what you're doing in the community, and what you're doing on social media is really needed. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Well, family, look, my time is up. I thank you for yours. This has been another phenomenal episode of the Victim No More podcast. The next guest is going to be incredible as well. But right now, I think we got a lot to chew on with this episode right here. This will be, on my page as far as the replay is concerned. And then I'll be actually uploading this episode to the other sources: Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. So this is not just going to stay here. Oh, Facebook. Okay, so yeah, so this definitely has to get out. Once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the guests that have come through here on the live of the Victim No More podcast. And if you're catching this on replay, please share this as well. I love each and every one of you, and there's absolutely nothing, I mean nothing, you can do about it. Peace.
Bye.